Hi, SWAT kids. I'm Pam,
And I'm Caitlin.
and we've been missing you in SWAT on Wednesday nights, but it's sure good we can be with you at least this way.
Oh, yes.
And we're glad you're still able to learn the Bible, learn your SWAT targets, and we're going to have a Bible story here in a minute that Miss Caitlin's going to tell you. And just for watching the video, you're going to get 2 coins for this. So when we are able to have SWAT store again, you'll be racking them up to be able to get something good at the SWAT store. On the subject of your targets, the 3-year-olds, you're learning Colossians 3:20 right now. So be sure you work on that. And our class, the preschoolers and kindergartners, most of you are working on the main verse, target 6, and it's got 2 verses there. So start on the first one, which is John 1:1. The first and second graders, you be ready to say the Old Testament books of the Bible, all the way from Genesis to Esther. And then the third graders are to continue working on the targets that were sent to you by your teacher. Fourth and fifth grade, be ready to say your Romans 12:2 verse and the books of the Old Testament. Be working on those as well. By the way, your parents can listen to your targets for you. And if you say them to the satisfaction of your parent, all the way through one time, and then a week later, say it again, then your parent can let us know that, and we will give you credit for your targets. So that's a really good thing. You can keep working on them now. Okay, Miss Caitlin, we're ready for the Bible story.
So, does anybody know what these are? Kind of looks like a sword and a shield, right? So, do you guys like to pretend battle, like maybe like soldiers or superheroes or cowboys? And do you maybe use a toy that may not be a sword? It might be like a squirt gun or a lightsaber or maybe even vehicles or barriers, and you do your battles like that? Well, today we're going to learn about a really cool battle. And this battle was won through God. So I'm going to put away my sword and my shield just for now. Okay. So remember last week when Miss Beth told you the children of God had forgotten all about God and they were worshiping idols like Baal? Not a very good idea, huh? So God had to remind his children that he was the only God who loves them and protects them. And to do this, God would let the Canaanite kings come back into the promised land. Right. So with their armies, they're going to attack the Israelites who were living there. And soon the Israelites would remember that God and the way he took such good care of them. And they began to cry out to God for help. And their cries were like, God, help us. We're scared. We're being defeated. Well, and of course, God heard them and he helped them because that is who our God is. And he helps those who turn back to him. So now this was the 4th time that the Israelites promised to love God with all of their heart and to worship only him. But once again, they had turned to worship the idols of the Canaanites. And by doing bad things, they hurt each other. Okay, so again, the Lord led a king living to the north of the Israelites, whichever way north is, I'm not sure right now. And that king brought 900 iron chariots. A little scary. We got all those mean people in there. Okay. So They brought 900 of these. It's like a lot. It would fill up this entire room, plus a lot more. So they took them into the promised land, and they shot arrows, and they threw spears, all at the Israelites, who did not give them everything that they wanted. And they did that for 20 years. That's almost as many years as me. So finally, the Israelites cried out to God for help and promised to worship him only. So God had a woman living further south in the promised land where the Canaanite king was, not reigning. And this woman, her name was Deborah. And Deborah believed in God and talked to him daily. Okay, so that means she talked to God every day. Okay, and so people from all over Israel, they would come to her, and she sat under a palm tree. Okay, every day. So this is kind of like what she would do. She would sit here under these palm trees, and she would have a conversation with God. And then she wouldn't just talk to God, she would listen to God. Okay, and so these Israelites, they would come from all over just to hear her speak, because she would speak what God said to her. Okay, and they knew that she was talking to God and had God's Spirit with her. So God had chosen her to be the fourth judge of Israel. And remember, a judge was a person chosen by God that God had given his strength and wisdom to in order to help his people in times of trouble. Okay? So, for example, like when, when, say your mom and dad ask you to pick up a really heavy toy and you don't think you can do it. But somehow, with the encouragement of your parents telling you you can do it and believing in you, you're able to pick up that toy. And you didn't think you could. But look at that, you just did it. So that's what God's strength does for us. When we don't think that we can accomplish something or do something, if we ask God for help and rely on him, he helps us accomplish it. He does it through us. Okay, so one day God told Deborah that he was going to deliver the Israelites living in the north from the evil commander named Sisera and his chariots of war. So Deborah sent a message to Barak to gather the Israelites near him to fight Sisera, and God would give him the victory. But Barak was afraid to go, and he sent a message back telling Deborah, I won't go unless you go with me to battle. And Deborah agreed to go, but she told Barak that God would let people remember a woman as the one who defeated Sisera, not him, since he did not trust God to help him without her by his side. So Deborah and Barak took the small army of Israelite to the top of a mountain to look down at Sisera's mighty army and chariots. Remember, there was 900 of them. That's a lot of people and a lot of chariots. So march down the mountain with all your men and fight the Canaanites. The Lord will go before you, and he will give you the victory, Deborah said. And this is exactly what happened. But Sisera found a way to flee without being killed by Barak. And so he ran as fast as he could until he saw a tent by the side of the river. And he found a woman and there who told him to come inside where she would hide him and let him sleep for a little while so that he could rest. And when Deborah and Barak arrived at the tent, the woman named Jael told them that Sisera was inside, where she had given him a glass of milk and covered him with a blanket to rest. And when they went inside, Sisera was there, and she had defeated him, and she saved the Israelites from his wrath. And ultimately, God used Jael to defeat Sisera. And like Deborah had said, a woman would be remembered as the one who defeated Sisera. So was Deborah right? Did God deliver the Israelites from Sisera's army? Well, yes. Yes, he did. And she was right. And did God let a woman capture Sisera? Well, if we remember who Jael is, then yes. Yes, a woman did. So from the story in the book of Judges, we find the truths that God will help us when we turn back to him. He will always love us and wants what is best for us. We also learn that God is the one who is in control. And he has a plan for us. And if we trust him, he will help us do them.
All right, that's a great story of how God took care of his people when they trusted in him. Now, in that story that Miss Caitlin just told, do you remember where Deborah was when she judged the people, where she sat every day? That's right, it was under a palm tree. Well, we've got an activity for you that you might enjoy while you're there at home. I bet you can do this. You need a plate, and I bet all of you can find a plate at your house. And then you need some food items that you can snack on. Wouldn't that be fun to make a snack? And I'm going to show you right here how we made this one. Let's see if I can get this down. What does that look like? Does that look like a palm tree? It should. But this palm tree is made out of a pretzel rod and some grapes and some apple slices. It makes a pretty picture, and then you can eat it. See if your mom can help you find some items of food at your house that you can make a palm tree with. And remember that Deborah sat under the palm tree. If you don't have a pretzel rod, maybe you could use a celery stick. If you don't have apples, find some other fruit or vegetable that might make nice palm leaves. We don't have palm leaves here in Wyoming, do we? But we see pictures of them at beaches where it's nice and warm. We used grapes for the fruit on this palm tree. Didn't have any blueberries. You could use raisins or chocolate chips. I bet you can find a lot of things around your house that you could use. If you didn't have the pretzel rods or other things, you could even make a whole picture out of icing with different colors and then eat it. Ooh, that sounds good.
That sounds really good.
Okay. Another activity, remember Miss Caitlin showed you the picture of the chariot that Sisera and his armies were using to battle the Israelites. Talk to your parents. Ask them what they think a chariot would look like and talk about how scary it would be. Well, I guess that's it for this lesson, Mrs. Caitlin.
I think so.
We hope to see you before too long, but until then, keep watching the SWAT videos each week. Bye-bye.